All right, peace, peace. Thank you for joining me. This is Morey Yaakov. All right, peace, peace. This is Morey Yaakov and ITFTR Network. And I like to wish each one of you that will be joining us this evening happy Shabbat. But before I start, as usual, I will blow the shofar. So we thank the Creator for everything. We thank the Creator for life, health, provisions. We thank the Creator for even in our oppressions, our captivity, that we have jobs to be able to sustain the lives that we have. I thank the Creator for just giving us the opportunity to be able to come and hear His word. And I know I'm on Friday night, but this is a special one for the night. So we thank the Creator for each one of you that will be joining us. All praises to the Creator. And we thank the Creator for giving us the opportunity to be able to repent on the things that we have done, knowing what we have done, because it's His will, not ours. So we thank the Creator for everything that He will do, that He should do. We thank the Creator. And I like to say all praises. Selah, hallelujah. Because He and He alone deserve the praise. So we're going to pick up on part 6 tonight. Israelites are not all Israelites. Because a lot of us get to the point where we think that because people have on what we call fringes, they have on their garbs, and some of them have their headdress on, and you read the Torah, whatever, but something we call that Israelites. But that doesn't make you an Israelite. An Israelite is a bloodline. An Israelite is a people. It's identifying marker. And I hear a lot of people, exclusively talk about the Bible, talk about the white man wrote the Bible. But it's funny that the white man wrote something and put his own destruction in it, his own behavior in it. And that's funny. He got his own destruction and his own behavior. I've never seen somebody write a book about themselves and don't teach you about the book, but teach you away from the book. I've never seen that before. Me and Brother Marcus was just talking about it today. I never seen somebody write their own destruction inside of a book. It's like you should be happy because notice the movies they're making about themselves. They're not giving you nothing bad about themselves. They're showing you they the last Mohegan, they the last samurai, they all this. But somehow in that book, that Bible, that a lot of people think that it's a fairy tale book. That the white man wrote it and gave it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Of course, stream y'all have to be messing up. But anyway, they say they're the last samurai. They everything, and they somehow they supposed to have wrote the Bible and gave it to you to indoctrinate you on a lie. What's the lie? What's the lie in the Bible? What is that lie? Is that lie about leprosy? Is that lie about where's the land of the promise is? That's what the lie is about? Or the lie is about a nationality? But somehow we have the Egyptians, we have the Moabites and the Canaanites and the Ammonites, but we don't have the Israelites. How's that? How don't we have the Israelites? The Egyptians ain't no fake nationality. The Moabites, what we call the Moors, that's not a fake nationality. The Assyrians, that's not a fake nationality. That's not a fairy tale. But somehow we get to the point when it comes to Israel, it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into part 6, excuse me. Let's get on into part 6. Because we have to understand that a lot of people just don't want to see Israel wake up. And it's the same thing what I hear with the One West group talk about all Negroes out Judah. In the indigenous community say, well, what he say? Get the nigga. All so-called melanated people of America ain't the same nation. They're different nations. What happened to the Indians or the so-called Aboriginals that went and fought against the other Aboriginals and sold them into slavery? Where did those people go? So I guess we forgot. I guess we don't deal with them no more, right? All forgiven. See, this is the problem. They like to change history up in front of you and give you some other history to make you something else or to get you to think something else. This is what you call historical revisionist. And this is the problem. But see, a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. We just simply listen to what they tell us. Okay? It's called historical revisionist. And let's look at that definition. A historical revisionist is the means by which the historical records, the history of a society, as understood in its collective memory. So you're talking about records, you're talking about historical records, you're talking about history of a society, and etc. Continually accounts for new facts and interpretations of the events that are commonly understood as history. So when you're talking about historical revisionists, you're talking about what? New facts and interpretation of events. See? You're not talking about the same events. You're talking about new facts and new what? Interpretation of events. So in other words, things change. Things change. And we're going to talk about some of this revisionist of how certain things changed. Because see, on last Shabbat, we talked about at the end the Khazars. The Khazars are the Khazars were people, a group of people that converted over into Judaism. Okay? They converted over into Judaism. And for them converting over into Judaism, they became and they took on the title of Jews. And they began to go around saying that they are God's people. So they changed a lot of things. They changed a lot of things to make themselves saying that they're God's people. So you're talking about now new facts and interpretation of events. Okay? So you got some of these Hebrew camps tells you about the transatlantic slave trade. And one of these verses they like to use is Deuteronomy 28:68. And I said in one of the lessons that Israel went back to Egypt, not no spiritual Egypt, but actual physical Egypt. Because they teach that Deuteronomy 28:68 is the transatlantic slave trade. Well, family, let's look at it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:68. Let's look at it. Deuteronomy 28:68. And this is what it reads. And the Creator, thou shalt see it no more again. And there shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. All right, family. I don't know. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this message out tonight. Okay. All right. I should be coming back in. All right. All right. I'm back in. I'm back in. All right. We read here Deuteronomy 28:68. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:68. I'm gonna show you how these camps been you literally about this verse. When they tell you that this is the transatlantic slave trade. Family, this verse is not talking about no transatlantic slave trade. This verse right here is talking about literal Egypt, the actual Mizraim, Egypt. Not no spiritual Egypt, but actual Egypt. Now, let me read it. It says, and the Creator shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. There you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy thee. Okay. So now, if you look at that, let's look at the key verse in this. Notice it says, notice he said, thou shalt see it no more again. What was he talking about? Thou shalt see it no more again. He's telling you, you're not going to see Egypt again. Prove, you want me to prove it with a precept? Let's go to Exodus 14, 13 through 16. Let's grab it. Exodus 14, verse 13 through 16. Let's grab it. Precept upon precept, right? Or line upon line, here a little, there a little. And that's what it says. Exodus the 14th chapter. Now, no precept means law. Don't come with that. Exodus 14, verse 13 through 16. Notice it says in Deuteronomy, and thou shalt see it no more again. You're not going to see it no more again. 13 through 16. And Moses said unto the not stand still and see the salvation of the Creator, which you shall see ever. That's what he just said. Thou shalt see him thou shalt see it no more again. What you're not going to see? Egypt. He's talking literal Egypt. So how do you get spiritual Egypt out of that? That comes from the New Testament. See, that's revisionist. That's historical revisionist. Moses told you, you will not see Egypt again. If you go back to Deuteronomy, he says, and thou shalt see it no more again. He's saying the same thing in Deuteronomy that he said in Exodus. You're not going to see Egypt again. But the Creator sent you back to Egypt, the same Egypt. That's why he says, and there. And there. What is the there? Spiritual? Or that is literal Egypt? That's literal Egypt. You shall be sold. Who sold you? Titus. When he sent you to Africa after they crashed Jerusalem, and nobody over there bought you. That's the history. Go pull it up for yourself. See, he said the Creator was sending them back to where he told them he will not do so. He sent you back to Egypt. He sent you back into bondage in the same country, same place you was when you first went there. He sent you back there physically. So this was actual Egypt. This was actual Egypt. But see, they got you thinking. They got you thinking that it was. They have you thinking that it was something spiritual. Spiritual. This is what they got you thinking, that it was spiritual. This was not a spiritual Egypt. This was a physical bondage that you went back to. Okay? And where's Egypt? Is Egypt in that land, Eurasia? Where is Egypt? Oh boy. Where is Egypt? See, you have to pay attention to where is Egypt. A lot of you say, well, Egypt is over there in Africa. Is that really Egypt? Watch this. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to show you that they move Egypt. Did it give it to me? Give me 1 second. I got to look for it. Look at it. Go right there. All right, here we go. Wait till it come in. Wait till it come on in. Here we go. All right, fair use, fair use. Let's see where Egypt is. Let's go.
In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt wanted to declare the Grand Canyon off limits to all timber and mining operations. It would take another 11 years for Congress to designate the Grand Canyon a national park. Sensing a final opportunity for adventure, explorer G.E. Kincaid took a boat down the Colorado River and through the Grand Canyon. The canyon was rich in minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and Kincaid wanted to see what he could find before the area was closed off for good. About 40 miles upriver from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon, Kincaid saw stains in the sediment formation about 2,000 feet up. He tied off the boat and got out to investigate. Kincaid couldn't find a trail, but after a short hike, he found something interesting covered in desert brush. Steps, hundreds of them, carved in sandstone, steps that wound their way up to a high shelf on the side of the canyon. He followed the steps until he came across a cavern entrance, an entrance that was clearly man-made. Kincaid entered the cavern and turned on his flashlight. On the walls, he saw writing, but it wasn't English or Native American writing. It was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Kincaid lifted his flashlight and saw that the tunnel ran far into the distance. He didn't realize it at the time, but this was only the beginning. When G.E. Kincaid tied off his small wooden boat to investigate the strange coloration of the rock wall, he was hoping to find clues that would lead him to a mineral deposit. He wasn't expecting to find hieroglyphics. When Kincaid noticed chisel marks in the walls, he drew his pistol, turned on another light, and slowly walked deeper into the gloom. He kept detailed notes of everything he saw.
The main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet toward the farther end. About 57 feet from the entrance, the first side passages branch off to the right and left, along which on both sides are a number of rooms about the size of ordinary living rooms of today, though some are 30 by 40 feet square. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls into the passages. The walls are about 3 feet 6 inches in thickness. The passages are chiseled or hewn as straight as could be laid out by an engineer. The ceilings of many of the rooms converge to a center. The side passages near the entrance run at a sharp angle from the main hall, but toward the rear, they gradually reach a right angle in direction.
G.E. Kincaid now realized he was in a huge complex. He estimated that as many as 50,000 people could have lived here. In some rooms, he found granaries with shelves of glazed pottery, many of which still contain seeds. He found cooking areas and a huge dining, a few small metal and ceramic objects for later study. Another large room Kincaid described as an area for metalwork, a technology that should not have existed in this area.
Here are found tools of all descriptions made of copper. These people undoubtedly knew the lost art of hardening this metal, which has been sought by chemicals for centuries without result. On a bench running around the workroom with some charcoal and other material probably used in the process. There's also slag and stuff similar to mat, showing that these ancients smelted ores, but so far no trace of where or how this was done has been discovered.
So they had metalwork, charcoal, stuff that really didn't supposed to, quote unquote, been back during that time. This is what he found inside those little cabins within the Grand Canyon. Okay, let's continue.
For the origin of the ore.
G.E. Kincaid explored the underground complex for several hours, still having no idea when this place was used, what it was used for, or who the builders were. Then he came across another large room, a crypt. The crypt had shelf upon shelf and row upon row of mummies, dozens of them. At this point, G.E. Kincaid realized that if he was going to explore this entire underground city, he was going to need help. G.E. Kincaid sent a few artifacts to the Smithsonian along with his notes of what he found. He requested financial and logistical support for what he felt was the most significant archaeological discovery ever made. The Smithsonian agreed. A few weeks later, Professor S.A. Jordan arrived with a team of about 40 scientists, researchers, and laborers to excavate and explore the ancient underground city. Now with more lights and manpower, the scientists realized that the cave system layout wasn't random. It was a symmetrical, deliberate design. The tunnels all led to a central chamber. In the chamber was a large statue of what Kincaid thought looked like Buddha.
Like butter.
Buddha.
What I say.
Over 100 feet from the entrance is the cross hall, several hundred feet long, in which are found the idol or image of the people's god sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of this face is oriental, and the carving in this cavern. The idol almost resembles Buddha, though the scientists are not certain as to what religious worship it represents. Taking into consideration everything found thus far, it is possible that this worship most resembles the ancient people of Tibet.
No, I didn't think we were allowed to say Oriental. Are we bringing that back?
We're not. This was written over 100 years ago. So.
Oh, right, when we had freedom of speech.
No, Oriental in this context just means Eastern.
Ah.
Because of this discovery, Kincaid's team started calling the complex the Citadel. The crypt was one of the bigger rooms discovered. Now, with enough light, Kincaid was able to fully describe what he saw.
The walls slant back at an angle of about 35 degrees. On these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hewn shelf. At the head of each is a small bench, on which is found copper cups and pieces of broken swords. Some of the mummies are covered with clay, and all are wrapped in a bark fabric. The urns or cups on the lower tiers are crude, while as the higher shelves are reached, the urns are finer in design, showing a later stage of civilization. It is worthy of note that all the mummies examined so far have proved to be male, no children or females being buried here. This leads to the belief that this exterior section was the warriors' barracks.
Kincaid, Jordan, and the Smithsonian team explored the entire cave complex. They were overwhelmed with evidence that this was not some faraway temple occupied by a few priests. This was a huge city lived in by thousands of men, women, and children for hundreds or possibly thousands of years. The question nobody could answer was, who were they?
Who were they? Excuse me. And where did they go? Who were they and where did they go? Let's go.
By the end of the expedition, G.E. Kincaid and Professor Jordan's team had discovered hundreds of rooms, barracks, granaries, metalworking shops, temples, and many, many living quarters. Though most of the rooms were empty, thousands of artifacts were found. They found swords and shields made of copper, bronze, and a gray metal that scientists couldn't identify. They thought it looked like platinum. They found pottery, urns, utensils for cooking, small yellow stones called cat's eyes, and large stone tablets, all engraved with hieroglyphics.
On all the urns or walls over doorways and tablets of stone which were found by the image are the mysterious hieroglyphics, the key to which the Smithsonian Institute hopes yet to discover. The engraving on the tablets probably has something to do with the religion of the people. Similar hieroglyphics have been found in southern Arizona. Among the pictorial writings, only 2 animals are found. One is of prehistoric type.
Even with all the relics and all the writing Kincaid and Jordan found, they were still no closer to determining who built the citadel in the Grand Canyon. They thought some of the statues looked Tibetan, but they weren't quite right. They thought the writing looked Egyptian. Again, that wasn't quite right. There were experts on site, none of whom could identify the statues or translate any of the text. But there were 2 things that the researchers could agree on. One, the civilization that built the citadel was very advanced, far more advanced than the native tribes that occupy the area for a few thousand years. This now lost civilization worked bronze many years before the Bronze Age began. They understood division of labor and agriculture when every other society on Earth was presumably still hunting and gathering. These are discoveries that went against everything that was taught in mainstream archaeology and anthropology. A civilization like this shouldn't exist.
Ooh, what was the second thing?
So you're talking about a people that were advanced. They found people or products of these people, civilization, that were advanced, that did not really supposed to have exist the way they found it. But it did. So now what's taking place? Let's go.
What?
Well, you said the eggheads agreed on 2 things. What was the second thing?
Right. They agreed that the civilization that built the citadel in the Grand Canyon didn't emerge there locally. This civilization arrived there from the other side of the world. Kincaid and Professor Jordan sent boxes of artifacts and books full of notes and drawings back to the Smithsonian, along with their hypothesis that an ancient civilization existed in the Grand Canyon thousands of years before Native Americans arrived in North America.
So now notice they say a hypothesis, meaning they're just giving you a guess. Because if they don't really know that where did these people come from? If they come from off the other side of the world, why they didn't tell you where they come from? Because the whole objective is to keep you off of your land, of your inheritance. They want you to think that this is the new world. It's the new world to them, but it's the old world to the world. Let's go.
These people were technologically advanced, educated, skilled, and spiritually complex. And these people originated somehow in Egypt or Asia. Kincaid wanted more resources and a larger team to help them research the citadel and search the Grand Canyon for more evidence of this lost civilization. Their request was denied, and G.E. Kincaid and Professor S.A. Jordan were never heard from again.
Son of a...
So why was they not heard of again? What happened to them? What happened to Kincaid and them? They had a large excavator of a team. So what happened to them? Let's go.
In northern Arizona is one of the most spectacular natural wonders on Earth, the Grand Canyon. Carved over millions of years by the Colorado River, The Grand Canyon is more than just a pretty landscape and a spot for tourists to take selfies. It's a place of deep spiritual significance for the people who've lived in the area. The Hopi, Navajo, Zuni, Apache, and several other tribes have lived around the Grand Canyon for several thousand years. They still do. Hopi
Josh, that hijack. Those people, those are not the people that Hopis and all that. That's not the actual indigenous people there. They come from Asia. Let's go.
Mythology says that from the Grand Canyon, the first people of the world entered. The story says that many thousands of years ago, a reptilian race emerged.
Lizard people?
Yep.
Hey, how many times do lizard people have to come up in these stories before you believe in him?
I guess I'm going to need a few more.
Lizard people are going to keep...
Other Pueblo cultures like the Zuni and the Acoma have similar legends that there were people there before the tribes.
Lizard people legends?
Well, some legends say reptilians were there. Other legends say a race of giants were there.
Ooh.
And
So a race of giants were there. So you're not talking about literal humans. Let's keep going. Let's talk about your inheritance because the Bible speaks of giants. Let's go.
there are rumors that skeletons of giants have been discovered all over the western United States, but the evidence has been suppressed.
Suppressed by who?
The Smithsonian.
Of course.
Something I've learned from doing the show is that all myths and legends do carry a little bit of truth. We already have evidence that people landed in North America before Columbus. The Vikings famously explored and settled parts of Newfoundland.
That's Japhet. The Vikings are Japhet.
500 years before the quote-unquote New World was quote-unquote discovered. And there's growing evidence that ancient...
See, notice they keep saying, notice he said the New World, quote-unquote, because this is a new word to them, not to you. Let's go.
Chinese explorers landed in North and South America before the Vikings. But landing on the east or west coast of America is one thing. Getting to the Grand Canyon is a whole other thing.
That's Mansa Musa. Let's go.
How could people get there? And even if they could, how did they have the technology to excavate millions of tons of rock in order to build an entire underground city? Well, we may have known the answer to that question for 1,000 years. Traveling from Europe and Asia to America thousands of years ago was almost impossible. Almost. Many brave people did it. But traveling to the Grand Canyon is a much more difficult task than landing on a California beach. To get to and build in the Grand Canyon requires technology. The Hopi have a very intriguing legend about the ant people. These are humanoid creatures that are smaller than humans with pale skin and large eyes like an insect.
Oh, so they got pale skin. There we go. We're talking about the pale skin. He said it. I didn't. I just repeated what he said. Let's go.
According to legend, a series of cataclysms hit the earth many thousands of years ago.
Young Adrias.
The Hopi were on the verge of being destroyed. A sky god emerged from what they called a moving star.
UFO.
The sky...
Does that sound like Jesus? A star moving, and it sat over the heart so the disciples, the wise men can follow it. Let's go.
God brought the Hopi to the ant people, who escorted them to underground caves for protection. The sky god then got back into his moving star and flew off above the clouds. The Paiute have a legend about the Havmusuvs. They're usually described as being humanoid in shape with golden skin and large eyes.
Aliens.
They lived in a vast underground city and traded with faraway people. They possessed weapons that the Paiute described as silver tubes that shot lightning and can kill a man instantly.
Phases.
And the most interesting part of the Havmusuv legend, they supposedly flew silver canoes in the sky.
UFOs.
These craft made a humming sound and could maneuver like an eagle and move at great speeds. Most ancient cultures have a flood myth. They describe a global disaster that melted the ice caps and caused sea level to rise 400 feet. Entire cities were wiped out, maybe even entire continents.
Atlantis.
Most of these flood myths also talk about how, after the waters receded, a godlike people came down from the sky. These gods gave humans the gift of civilization and taught them things they had forgotten before the Great Flood. Things like writing, astronomy, and agriculture.
You're talking about the fallen angels. See, they call it a myth, but it's really not a myth. Those things really exist. Let's go.
The city in the Grand Canyon be evidence of this time in history? And if it is, why would anyone want to suppress it? All the information in today's episode comes from 2 front-page articles from the Phoenix Gazette published in 1909. In the years since, Mainstream researchers have decided that the articles were a hoax, a fantastic story designed to sell newspapers.
19th century clickbait?
Yep.
The media hasn't changed much.
Unfortunately, that's true. But many people believe the story is real, and the Smithsonian is covering it up.
Smithsonian Public Relations, Marion speaking.
Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
I'm here. Sorry, I was on hold a long time.
How can I help you?
They transferred me to Marion.
Yes, this is Marion.
Okay, great. My name is AJ, and I'm with the Y-Files. We're a YouTube channel that covers mysteries.
Did you say you're from YouTube?
The Y-Files is a channel on YouTube, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you about an article that was in the Phoenix, Arizona Gazette in 1909, and they sent me to you. I was hoping to ask you a couple of questions about that.
Okay, let me stop you. No Egyptian artifacts of any kind have ever been found in North or South America.
Sounds like you've given that speech before.
Yes, I get this call a couple of times a year. I can tell you that the Smithsonian has never been involved in anything like this in the Grand Canyon or anywhere.
So, G.E. Kincaid.
There's no record of anyone by that name ever working for the Smithsonian. The whole thing is a hoax.
Yeah, that's the prevailing belief, but the Smithsonian has been accused of covering this up, so...
Yeah, I don't have a response to that.
You probably don't want to talk about giants or giant skeletons, huh?
And goodbye.
That's the official story. Kincaid's cave is a hoax, so no reason to try and find it. Nothing to see here. Even Kincaid himself wanted to keep people out.
First, I would impress that the cavern is nearly inaccessible. The entrance is 1,486 feet down the sheer canyon wall. It is located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. The scientists wish to work unmolested, without fear of archaeological discoveries being disturbed by curio or relic hunters. A trip there would be fruitless, and the visitor would be sent on his way.
So why are they blocking off the Grand Canyon if the story is a hoax? I'm gonna show you it's not. Let's keep going.
At the request of the Smithsonian, or just to protect his find, it was clear that Kincaid wanted to dissuade people from finding the citadel. But even over 100 years later, that wouldn't stop people from trying. And some of those people, they say they found it. Jerry Wills and his wife Kathy have been studying the Kincaid Cave mystery for years. Their approach was find the original base camp of the explorers, which would lead them to the cave. After years of research and exploring the area where G.E. Kincaid said he found the cave, Jerry and Kathy found a location covered in artifacts from that time. And on the canyon wall just below this area, they believe is the entrance to the underground city. Exploring is difficult though. The entire area where the cave is supposed to be is designated off limits by the federal government.
I saw that coming.
About 1,000 caves have been discovered in the Grand Canyon, many of them man-made, but only about 30 have been mapped, and many of those have been sealed.
Ooh, I close them off.
Oh, for your safety.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't buy the safety excuse either. There are plenty of people who'd be willing to take the risk, and they'd be willing to sign a waiver that says the government isn't responsible if something happens. In fact, people have tried this. The government still says, no, it's too dangerous.
How nice of the government to look out for us.
Isn't that nice? Then why is it legal to jump out of a plane or ride a roller coaster or drive a car? Some things in life are dangerous, but they're still worth doing. Some other caves in the Grand Canyon have been blocked by steel gates. They say this is to protect the bat population.
Whoa. Did you say bats? We have to protect the bats?
That's what they say.
Well, haven't bats caused enough problems these last few years? Allegedly.
Still, people are willing to risk a fine or imprisonment to find the lost city in the Grand Canyon. But anyone who goes looking should expect a response. When Jerry and Kathy's team tried to explore the area, suddenly an unmarked plane appeared. Clearly, they were being watched. Despite this part of the Grand Canyon being a no-fly zone, and the fact that no aircraft is allowed to fly below the rim, a plane appeared. Jerry Wills is convinced this was a warning. His team was unable to continue their expedition. Exploring the cave from above is almost impossible. But what about exploring it from below, as G.E. Kincaid did? Another group of explorers tried this. As they approached the location, a black helicopter showed up. Not a tourist helicopter, not even a black civilian helicopter, an Apache combat helicopter. When this team explored the area above, looking for the ventilation shafts Kincaid wrote about, and possibly a way down, they found cement blocks in the middle of nowhere. Some of these blocks are platforms near the edge of the rim with hardware and anchors that would be used to assist mountaineers. When asked about this, The authorities say these are reinforcing structures to prevent rock falls. Also in this forbidden zone, rock formations have unusual names. There's Isis Temple, Tower of Set, Horus, the Cheops Pyramid, and Ra. There's also the Manu Temple, the Buddha Temple, the Krishna Temple, and the Shiva Temple, and many more names that refer to ancient Egyptian and Hindu cultures that specifically have myths about a god helping civilization after the Great Flood. The official word is, the fact that these names exist within the Grand Canyon's no-go zone is a coincidence. But I don't really believe in those. Do you? David Hatcher Childress is a French author who's published 200 books. He often covers ancient mysteries. He believes the United States government is actively suppressing archaeological discoveries. He mentions that while the film Raiders of the Lost Ark is fiction, the final scene showing the warehouse is close to reality. That the Smithsonian, an independent federal agency, is hiding some of the most important discoveries made in the Americas.
That's why in a lot of movies, if you pay attention, they be literally showing you that they are in those places that the government blocks off regular people. The Raiders of the Lost Ark was in the Grand Canyon. They're telling you the Ark is over in the Grand Canyon. Let's go.
He says the cover-up began in 1881 with famous geologist John Wesley Powell. Powell appointed Cyrus Thomas the director of the Eastern Mound Division of the Smithsonian Institution's Bureau of Ethnology. When Thomas came to the Smithsonian, he believed there was a race of mound builders that were distinct from and arrived before the American Indians. This school of thought is called diffusionism, which says throughout history, there's been a widespread dispersion of culture and civilization, even across.
So the mound builders, you got to go and understand who are the mound builders. They were here. They are indigenous to the Americas. Native Americans are people who just came here. Okay? Let's rewind that just a little bit more and listen to what he say. Let's go.
Of the Eastern Mound Division of the Smithsonian Institution's Bureau of Ethnology. When Thomas came to the Smithsonian, he believed there was a race of mound builders that were distinct from and arrived before the American Indians. This school of thought is called diffusionism, which says throughout history, there's been a widespread dispersion of culture and civilization, even across great distances. The Smithsonian took the opposite approach. It promoted isolationism, which says most civilizations are isolated from each other and have little contact, especially when separated by large bodies of water. It was held that the advanced and highly populated civilizations of the Ohio and Mississippi valleys were rare, and that they didn't have contact with other advanced cultures like the Aztecs, the Toltecs, or the Maya. But the Mississippi River runs from Canada all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. To say these cultures were isolated is like saying that people in the Black Sea had no contact with people in the Mediterranean.
So now you see that the Mississippi River was a main source of a travel point to the Aboriginals of North America. Let's go.
That's ridiculous. When ancient mounds of the American Midwest are examined, they show the existence of a complex culture, cities larger than those in Europe at the time. They also show burials of extremely tall people, sometimes 7 or 8 feet tall. When the Spiro mounds were excavated in the 1930s, 7 and 8 foot tall skeletons were found, at a time when the average height of a human male was about 5'6". Those skeletons have been lost. In 1892, stone coffins were discovered in Alabama by Frank Burns during a geological survey. The coffins were about 7.5 feet long, hollowed out by fire and metal chisels.
Now, if you don't believe in saying, well, those statues, I mean, those bones are fake. Ain't no tall giants. Well, Tuscaloosa was tall. King Tuscaloosa, he was tall. Cortez even put that out in his writings. Okay, let's go.
Findings were sent to the Smithsonian. In 1984, this report was found by researcher Frederick J. Pohl. He asked the Smithsonian about this. They said, "We have not been able to find the specimens in our collections, though records show that they were received."
Well, how do you lose giant stone coffins?
That weighed several tons? I don't know.
And never underestimate the incompetence of the federal government.
8 years later, the Smithsonian said they found the coffins, but they were stored in a warehouse that was contaminated by asbestos, so nobody could go in there to see them. During World War II, a crew was building an airship in Alaska. They excavated a mound that had gigantic human remains, skeletons twice or 3 times the size of a normal human. This report has been confirmed by multiple sources. The Smithsonian collected the findings, and that was the last anyone heard about it. There are stories like this from Alaska all the way down to Mexico City. An amazing discovery is made, the Smithsonian steps in, the story disappears. The saying, skeletons in your closet, means you have secrets you don't want revealed. Secrets that, if discovered, would be embarrassing and possibly dangerous. In the case of the Smithsonian, skeletons in the closet could be taken literally, but the government literally has evidence that an advanced race was in North America long before the native tribes arrived. Evidence they don't want revealed.
So they're what they're just pretty much telling you is that there were a particular race of people here that were giants. And who were some of those giants? Those were the Canaanites. That's what they don't want to talk to you about. Those were the Canaanites. And they mix with that race of people that were here before the flood. So this is who he's talking about now. He's talking about the Canaanites. The 7 nations of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, verse 1. The race of the tall people. Let's go.
Mainstream science says this is nonsense, but the Hopi and other Grand Canyon tribes do believe this. The Hopi say that when the first people emerged from the Grand Canyon, they sent a message to the Temple of the Sun asking for a blessing of peace. That messenger hasn't returned. But even today in Hopi villages, at sundown, tribal elders can be seen on rooftops, gazing toward the setting sun, waiting for the messenger to come home. And when he does, the ancient land will be returned to the first people. Now that's an optimistic belief. The United States spent 200 years taking land from the first people. You really think they're going to give it back?
So there you go. So he's telling you right here that the United States is not going to give back the land. So if the United States is not going to give back the land, the question is, how is the original people, the Aboriginal people, is going to get their land back? Let's go.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ. That's Hecklefish. This has been the Y-Files.
So now, the question now I'm going to ask is, you say, well, all that was well and good, but that doesn't mean that that was true. Right. That's right. That's right, Support. They have a lot of stuff out there that they don't want you to know. Shalom to Brother Zipporah and Trey, and shalom to Sister Joanne Smith. All praises to each one of you. So now you saying, well, how is that? That is a hoax. Okay. Let's look at this right here. Let me pull this right here up real quick. It's called the Peace and Friendly Treaty. Okay. Let me put this up real quick. Let me share my screen. The Peace and Friendly Treaty. We're looking at the date of when it was signed into law. The Peace and Friendship Treaties. Wait till it come on up. Okay, let me see when it goes. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Make sure it come on in. All right, let me come on back out real quick. All right, let me stop sharing. Let me go back in and share it again. All right. Okay, here we go. Let me show you how they revision your history right from this land on to get you to become a foreigner. Watch and wait till command. Peace and friendship treaties. Okay, you can see it on your screen. You can see it on your monitor. It says on the East Coast, peace and friendship treaties were signed with the Mike, whatever that was. I'm not trying to pronounce that. Melissa and whatever that word is, prior to 1779. Okay, prior to 1779. You see? So if the treaties was prior to 1779, as I scroll down, you can see the Treaty of 1725 or Dummer treaties. 1728 ratification of the treaties of 1725. 1749 renewal of the treaties of 1725. 1749 ratification of the renewal of the treaties of 1725. So you can see that the treaties was there in 1725. Now let's do this right here. That was with Morocco. They're supposed to have peace and friendship treaties with Morocco. Okay. So let's see when Morocco became a country. When did Morocco become a state? What year Morocco became a state or a country? Give me let me pull it up real quick. Second. Okay. Morocco recognized of the United States in 1786. Morocco recognized the United States on June the 23rd, 1786, when a treaty of peace and friendship was signed by the U.S. Minister Thomas Barclay and Sidi Mohammed, Sultan of Morocco at Morocco. All right, you're talking about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1786. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, if the Peace and Friendship Treaty was signed in 1786, my question to you is where, because there was no Morocco in Africa during 1786. Morocco was not even around during that time. So where was Morocco? Where was Morocco? See, when I put in the country Morocco, I didn't put that in. That's my fault. See the history of Morocco. Let's see if it was around before 1786. Then we're going to move forward. See, Morocco is part of the Ottoman Empire. See? So when it says Morocco, it's talking about the Ottoman Empire. See, by the mid 1800s, at the time when the influence of the Ottoman Empire was in decline, France and Spain began taking a great interest in Morocco. So it was called the Ottoman Empire. The Algeciras Conference of 1906 that followed the Moroccan crisis formalized France's special interest in the region, opposed by Germany, and the treaties of Fez in 1912, and made Morocco a French protege. Spain gained authority over the Ifni to the south and whoever the word is to the north. In 1920, the Rif Berbers of Morocco, under the leadership of Mohammed Abd el-Karim, rebelled against the French and the Spanish authority. The short-lived Rif Republic was crushed by the joint French and Spain task force of 1926. So the Moroccan Empire that's over there is really the Ottoman Empire. It's part of the Ottoman Empire. Okay? So who did America sign the peace and friendship treaty with? The Ottoman Empire? Who did he sign the peace and friendship treaty with? See, this is why a lot of people don't get into this. There was no Morocco over in the Middle East or in Africa before the 1700s. The name Morocco is a new name. It was the Ottoman Empire. Now, I could be wrong, but not according to the sources that I pulled up. So, see, that's why we have to check things. See, they tries to use new names to confuse you. Those are still empires over there. Those are empires. Let's go to number 3. Where's really the Red Sea? Where's the Red Sea at? Where's the Red Sea? Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up and show it to you. Where's the Red Sea? There you go, right here. Because they don't want you to realize that this is the real old world. They want you to believe, because they call this the new world, that they want you as an indigenous man and female to believe that this is new. See, the Gulf of California, plenty of sources on this. The Gulf of California, Spanish, Golfo de California, also known as the what? Sea of Cortez, Mar de Cortez, or Sea of Cortez, or less commonly as the Vermilion Sea, is a marginal sea of the Pacific Ocean that separate the Baja California Peninsula from the Mexican mainland. Okay? The Gulf of California is a marginalized sea of the Pacific Ocean that separates the Baja California Peninsula from the Mexican mainland. It also is known as the what? Sea of Cortez, or the Vermilion Sea, which is really the Red Sea. See, they had to move the name Red Sea over to the Middle East. What's so rad about that? Because in California, all the way around to Alabama, they have what is called a red algae that shows up every year. And that algae turns the water into red, almost looking like blood. That's why Alabama football team, the college, is called Alabama Crimson Tides, because that's what those algae are, the Crimson Tides. And it causes the water to turn to red. Looks like blood. So why is that sea over there is called the Red Sea, when nothing about it is red at all? See, they changed it and flipped it to make you think overseas. See, they got you thinking overseas when you're really home. You're really home. You don't believe that you're home because they told you that you're from Africa. And you came through the transatlantic slave trade. This is their story. They have the most pyramids in the world, America. They have the most pyramids on the face of the earth, America. So how did a new world out pyramid the old world? Why is that the old world do not have more pyramids than the so-called new world? Would they waited to come over here to build new pyramids? Is that what it is? Is that what that is? Even the Bible teaches that the Israelites built pyramids for their dead. They use pyramids. And this what they don't want you to know. Let me pull up a video. Let me see. Let me pull up a video. Okay, I did pull it up. Let's grab this video right here real quick. Pyramids in America. America is a Negro continent. America always was a Negro continent. So fair use, fair use. Give me a minute. Wait till it come up. Fair use, fair use. All right.
preserve preserving. It said up to the century most had survived, but between the 20s and the 60s, they were used as a source of raw material for road construction. We already know. So all right, so look, it's more in this interview. You see saying and the oldest pyramids in the world. All right,
All right,
so
here
they
we go.
saying that these are the oldest pyramids in the world because they basically trying to keep us under like a 6,000 year time span or whatever. But we know that the earth been here for millions of years, billions of years.
Right, and we wasn't even sleep that long as well. We was not even sleep that long. Let's go.
Maybe trillions of years. Who knows? All right, so this is just the little article. We'll read this. Saying, according to reports, the world's oldest pyramids have been found discovered in the Atlantic coast of southern Brazil. It's saying that, of course, if you ignore all other provocative discoveries such as the pyramids in Bosnia and in Indonesia, it's saying, or Antarctica, it's saying, and the fact that we have absolutely no idea what exact age of the pyramids of Giza is. All right, so remember that they saying that these are the oldest, but they don't know how old the pyramids of Giza is. So that would say that all right, we don't know if they're the oldest, or put a question mark behind it. It said just like the pyramids in other countries, these found in South America are believed to have been built for religious purposes. Okay, remember that, religious purposes. Near the mysterious structure, researchers discover hundreds of human burial grave goods, which include stone plaques, shell breastplates on a series of figurines representing numerous animals from the region. All right,
So they use pyramids for religious purposes. Okay. For the burial and for religious purposes. Let's go.
look, let's check this breastplate thing out. So they said that they found breastplates, right? They found breastplates. All right, so look, this is what when I Google breastplates, I just I put Hebrew breastplates up here, but we already know that the breastplates originally started with the Hebrews or whatever, according to what I know. I mean, breastplates has been throughout history, but we know that I know that the Hebrews was wearing breastplates according to the Bible. So these are some images of breastplates or whatever. Even though that they said the breastplates was made of shells, which I don't know or whatever. They could be lying. I don't know about that or whatever. But nonetheless, these are the idea of breastplates. Like I told you, they found Hebrew writing all throughout the Americas. They ain't telling you that. So they get.
So if they found Hebrew writings all throughout of America, why is it that they're not telling you this? But I thought our language was English. But somehow they found Hebrew writings all throughout America. Let's go.
The mound again. So, mound again. It's saying shell mound or pyramids. According to researchers, these are in fact the oldest known pyramids on the planet. Now, first he say that he don't know how old the ones in Egypt is, but he's saying that these are in fact the oldest known pyramids on the planet. They say according to researchers, even though the Brazilian pyramids share a few similarities with the pyramids in ancient Egypt, there wasn't any contact among civilization around the world. He said, look, excuse me. Let me read that again. It said, according to researchers, even though the Brazilian pyramids share a few similarities with the pyramids in ancient Egypt, there wasn't any contact among civilizations around the world. But there's pyramids in the Grand Canyon with ancient Egyptian they found a lot of ancient Egyptian stuff up in there. It's saying, and the concept of the pyramid construction was invented independently in every continent. All right, so this is what they're saying. So as you see, they telling you that the pyramid in so-called Brazil is supposed to be the oldest. We also know that the oldest person ever found in Brazil was Luzia, the woman. And this is Dr. Richard Neves. Listen, this is Dr. Richard Neves for all of you so-called scholars who want to come on in with your pathetic pseudo information that you didn't receive. You got to take information from everywhere and come up with your own, because you cannot believe these books. These books are lying. They want you to believe, okay, we found one person and there's pyramids in these same parts. But who are the people who built these pyramids? They don't want to put a face to them. And I find that to be funny, because they said that they found graves, they found burial graves. So where's the bodies at? Let's start testing these Negroes, then, but they don't want to test you because they told you that you're not from here, so you're not going to ask to be tested with them. Because
see, and that's the problem right there. We don't know how to literally attack these people verbally through our mind of education. We don't see, we can ask them folks to, we could go and do tests, not no spit in the test. But we can literally go through tests and we can show that we was always here. They weren't. Rewind it just a little bit more. We're going to move to the next. Let's go.
we also know that the oldest person ever found in Brazil was Luzia, the woman. And this is Dr. Richard Neves. Listen, this is Dr. Richard Neves for all of you so-called scholars who want to come on in with your pathetic pseudo information that you didn't receive. You got to take information from everywhere and come up with your own, because you cannot believe these books. These books are lying. They want you to believe, okay, we found one person and there's pyramids in these same parts. But who are the people who built these pyramids? They don't want to put a face to them. And I find that to be funny, because they said that they found graves, they found burial graves. So where's the bodies at?
So where are the bodies? Where are the bodies?
Let's start testing these Negroes, then, but they don't want to test you because they told you that you're not from here, so you're not going to ask to be tested with them, because you think you from sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, so
you see how that work? They found bodies in a lot of these pyramid graves, these burial sites. But see, they got you thinking you come from someplace else. So you wouldn't even ask the first and foremost question is, where are the bodies that you assume from these burial sites of pyramids? You wouldn't even ask the question, because you know why? They got you thinking you come from someplace else. The same way that they told you that Deuteronomy 28:68 is talking about the transatlantic slave trade, when the Creator said, "And thou shalt see it no more again." But then we went to Exodus, and that's the precept today. He was talking literally about Egypt. He wasn't talking about no spiritual Egypt. He was talking about literally Egypt. So they found burial sites and they resumed the bodies, but notice they ain't telling you what kind of bodies they found. No. They're not giving you the bodies. No. So you have to be you have to try to figure this thing out, because they pulling the bodies, but they ain't telling you, they're not doing no DNA tests on the bodies they found. I mean, if they are, they're not gonna give them to you. So you had a guesswork. But notice notice the brothers say that some of those pyramids were burial sites. So let's do this. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 13. and 27. Let's go there real quick. Let's see if Israel buried people inside of pyramids. Let's see. Let's see. First Maccabees 13, verse 27 and 28. So verse 27 says, well, let me go back up real quick. I'm gonna start at verse 25. Then sent Solomon, and took the bones of Jonathan, his brother, and buried them in Modin, the city of his fathers. Verse 26, and all Israel made great lamentations for him and bewailed him many days, meaning they cried for this brother many days because I'm quite sure he was loved. 27, Simon also built a monument upon the what? Scepters of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloof to the site with hewn stones behind and before. So what is his brother building? Let's look at it. Verse 28. Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another, for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren. This is what he did. He set up 7 pyramids, one for his father, one for his mother, and the other one for his what? 4 brethren. That's 6. So you got one more pyramid. Verse 29, and in these he made cunning devices, which about the which he set great pillars, and upon the pillars he made all their armor for a perpetual memory. And by the armor ship carved, that they might be seen of all that sail on the sea. See, now you're talking about sea merchants. Those are the Canaanites. That's why we have to be very careful at who we listen to. Psalms 115, verse 22. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Psalms 115. And verse 22. I don't think this thing got no 22. Did I write this thing down wrong? Hope not. No? Let me start at verse 22. That's what I got, 22? Yeah. 21. Now that they were in the tower, sent messages unto Typhon, to the end that he shall hasten his coming unto them by the wilderness and send them victuals. Wherefore Typhon made already all his horsemen to come out the night. that night. And but there fell a great snow, by reason whereof he came out, so he departed and came into the country of Gilead. Okay? There's a bomb in Gilead. Talk about this tree. So Israel were burying their dead inside of pyramids. And those who's trying to get the history on the pyramids, y'all, we got this. We got to step our game up. Huh? So now, when we realize that the Maccabees, that the Israelites were using pyramid shapes. Now, mind you, the scripture says that you're going to inherit cities that you did not even build. So if you didn't build these cities, who did? Did the Canaanites do it? And this is where we get ready to turn the page and go a little deeper. See, the 400 years of oppression only fit the so-called Negroes of America. See, that's the trick bag. Because every Negro of America is not struggling under a curse. Some of them folks, some of these Negroes are Esau, the Moabites, the Canaanites, the Jebusites. That's who some of these people are. That's why they're not moved by your plight of suffering. This is a Negro continent. Now, let's grab something else real quick. This is a Negro continent. Okay, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. The Negro is being hated on all sides. Let me grab it. All right, here we go. Here we go. Fair use, fair use. To let you see that these folks changes your identity. And then set up laws where's that they can break it, but you can't. So let's get into it real quick. Let's go. Let me wait till you catch back up with me. This is the Power of Yah in You channel. Go to the brother page if you like what you hear. Subscribe to the brother. So let's go.
Family. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Y'all are not going to believe this. And again, this is why we keep telling you that the children of Israel has enemies. The question is, whose side are you on? You're not going to believe what this individual by the name of Judith Veneer Shore just said. She is a retired general Israeli diplomat who counseled in Atlanta, Georgia between the time period of 2015 to 2019. This is what she had to say about the so-called young black community.
Now, I want you, before we get into that, I want you to remember we're talking about historical revisionists. Because historical revisionist is when they change the facts that's on the table and they put up new facts to get you to focus on the new facts. Okay? Now, Israelis over there now fighting this group called Hamas. But let's see who their real enemy is. Let's go.
She didn't say Hamas. She didn't say Iran. She didn't say Islamic individuals who may practice that religion are major concern to the Israeli government. This is what she said was a potential threat to the Israeli government. And we're going to tell you why. We'll be right back.
The Israeli government holding a private convention here in the United States. One of the people in attendance at this secret meeting was Judith Varnai Shore. She's a former Israeli consul general who was operating out of Atlanta. She was one of the main people saying that the biggest problem that they had was young black people in the United States. But don't worry, they've got some black leaders on the payroll.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. The problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black is with the young generation of the black community.
This was an Israeli government official who was saying this, not some low-level operative or some rogue member of their diplomatic corps. This was a senior member of their administrative government who was saying this on American soil. Their biggest problem wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah or the Palestinian Authority or Syria or even Iran. She said that Israel's biggest problem was young black people in the United States.
Family, I know y'all just heard that. That's crazy, right? She's just said that their biggest concern is the young black community. What? Why is their biggest concern the young black community or the new generation that's awakening to what's really going on around them? Why? Because they realize that they're losing their power structure. Their power structure is being dismantled slowly. Oh yeah. And how? Because the awakening that is associated with the Bible. Yes, the children of Israel, the true Israelites, the Hebrews that have been scattered to the four corners of the earth,
Dodge the hijack.
Are starting to understand that these people that call themselves Jews are not the true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Now, we're going to stop the video right there. So you're their biggest threat. You're their biggest threat. You are. But you know what the problem is? You don't see yourself as being a threat to other people. You don't see yourself a threat to other people. In fact, you try to assimilate with everybody. Hey, shalom, shalom, all for Yah. Shalom. You tries to assimilate with everybody. Shalom, shalom, Sister Latanya G. Good to see you again. And this is the problem. So when you try to assimilate with everybody, you can't visualize somebody being your threat or your enemy, like Psalms 83 says. You can't visualize that because you're trying to hang up with them. So when you hang up amongst these folks put all kind of spells in your mind to make you become a foreigner in your own land. And now you running around thinking that you in a foreign land. Well, a foreign hemisphere, let's put it like that. Because the Back to Africa movement did not even start until the 18th and the 19th century, where they literally was trying to get you off your own land. And they was telling, and a lot of our folks, our forefathers didn't tell us that we were the owners of the land. That's what that question, that's what that is. So the Back to Africa movement did not start until the 18th and the 19th century. And it was started by the Caucasians. It started by the Caucasians. Why did they start the Back to Africa movement? Why? Because they needed to set up everything in order to take the inheritance from you. That's what this is. They needed to take their inheritance from you. So they started up the Back to Africa movement to try to get the Negroes off the land, to get you to believe that you didn't come from the land. You came off a slave ship, and I just showed y'all Deuteronomy 28:68. That's literally Egypt. That's not no spiritual Egypt. Like these camps try to tell you that in Revelations they talk about a spiritual Egypt. No, it literally is Egypt. That verse is literally talking about Egypt. Then who came after to try to perpetuate the Back to Africa movement? Who did they bring up to use after that? Let's pull them up. Let me pull them up. Let me bring let it catch up. See, they have it to. to help put you in that mind frame of the agenda that they're trying to put upon you. And many of you follow this society. Prince Hall Masons. He started the Back to Africa movement more than 100 years before Marcus Garvey. Many of you didn't even know that. Resulting in Prince Hall Masons joining with others to establish Liberia. See, when you join a lot of these groups are already founded in secret society, secret orders. They show you on their symbols that be on their clothes that they're part of a secret order. And many of you just sit there and listen to it, look at it, you view it, you visualize it, but you keep going and you keep following, you keep assimilating. These folks had an agenda to set you up from the beginning. See, Prince Hall started it, then they used his organization to help perpetuate and push it. Then came Marcus Garvey through the UNIA organization. A man from the islands came up to the mainland to tell the mainland that they come from Africa. Think about that. Somebody that did not even grow up with you, that did not come from the same place or the same cloth as you, come to you and tell you where you're from. But you didn't hear that from your parents. But you hear that from people on the outside telling you inside where you come from. Guess what they do? And many of you follow it. And now today they got this documentary From Hebrew to Negro. A lot of you went and bought it, looked at it, and you believed it. He was telling you that you come from Africa too in the video. From Hebrew to Negro. And your boy, the basketball player, supposed to have what? He was supposed to have looked at it and posted and got in trouble with the Ashkenazi or the Khazars. And they wanted him to, but he said, I'm still learning. But then you had the IUIC group march around the stadium for what? That was Jason showing off. Are we staying in solidarity with the what his name is, the basketball player? I can't remember his name. But instead of you marching, why you just don't build restaurants, and why you don't build schools, and why you don't build stores, and why you don't build this and that for the community? You got the manpower, but you ain't doing nothing with it. You're raking in the money, you done became a millionaire, you ain't doing nothing with it. Not just IUIC, but a lot of these other camps. But you say the white man the devil, but you got the money to be able to the so-called Negro that you say that's Judah. To be able to buy stuff from a Hebrew store. But where's the... I wonder why y'all ain't building stuff for us. Those who got the money, got the support and the backing. I wonder why. What's the problem? From Hebrew to Negro. They was offended. The so-called Ashkenazi Jews supposed to have been offended by that movie. Really? Why was they offended? Were they offended? Or did that so-called documentary really was supposed to have catch fire because Israel, the real Israelites, are realizing that they're trying to cut you off? Was that the real plan? To get the basketball player to come out and say he apologized, to get you unfocused off America, but to get you to look at that movie to believe that that's where you really come from? Was that the play? To get you to feel play. Because they know you're waking up from that false narrative of coming across from on the Atlantic slave trade. They needed you back in the boat. Was that the play? Play. They need to play. Yeah, Kyrie Irving, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm one of them brothers that believe, Chief Moray type of brothers who believe that the U.S. is our homeland. LOL. To explain to me the slave, the ship, and all the Hebrew names on the registry. I need to explain that to you. Hebrew names. So you want me to explain the Hebrew names on all the registry, right? Okay, watch this. You believe that the slave ships came from Atlantic slave trade. Okay, watch this. Yeah. This is sad. And you know what makes it so sad? You know what makes it so sad? That they could put out stuff in a book, or they can put out false information and say this is real, and you believe it. And you believe it got something to do with you. Your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents never told you about a slave trade. But somehow people outside of your bloodline tell you about a slave trade. Now, I'm not telling you that some of you didn't come on a slave trade. Some of you probably did, which is called the Pacific slave trade. You didn't think about that, did you, Brian? Or Bean? It's called the Pacific slave trade. Huh? Because y'all love to talk about the Atlantic slave trade. But tell me about the Pacific slave trade. Now, the Atlantic slave trade, now I'm going to show you something real quick. Let me show you something real quick. Let me see if I got it up. Let me show you something real quick, Bean. Since you want to talk about the registry. Let me see something. I want you to explain this one right here, brother. And about rather what I believe. It's about what is true. Right here. Here we go. I want you to explain this right here, brother. Bean, Mr. Bean. Okay, here we go. Your parents never told you that you came from off a slave ship. But for somehow, you're a slave. Somehow you are a slave. I'm gonna pull up some images. I'm gonna pull up some images. Here we go right here. Now, let's pull it up right here. Let's pull this right here up. Let me get it right here. Okay. Let me condense this and I'm gonna go back out. This is funny. And I'm gonna ask you one question, Mr. I'm gonna ask you one question, Mr. Bean. Let me stop sharing it and then share it again. And I don't want you to run, brother. I want you to answer this one question. I'm gonna move on. I need you to answer this one question for me right here. Hmm? That's the internet. I can't do nothing about that. Can't do that. That's the internet. Okay, here we go, Mr. Bean. Why we got boats with white folks on it and got pictures, video? These are pictures. I'm talking about actual pictures. White folks. Let me pull up some more. Here go some more pictures. Ready? These are actual pictures. White people getting on boats. Let's go back. Let's pull up some more. Now I want you to do what I want you to do, Mr. Bean. I want you to pull up some pictures of black folks actually getting on boats. I don't want this. Don't give me this one now. Don't give me this one. I don't want this one. Don't give me this picture. Now I want you to show me, Mr. Bean, black folks getting on boats in Africa. Okay. I don't want you to give me this one. I don't need this. I don't need that image. I want you to give me an actual image of white folks getting on boats. I mean, black folks getting on boats. Like I just showed you a picture of a whole bunch of white people getting on boats. Hmm? So that's what I want you to do right now, Mr. Bean. Can you do that? That was in the early. That was in the late. That was in the early 1800s. That was during the time of slavery. People still bringing slaves. Supposed to be bringing slaves over here. So I need you to show me black folks in the 1800s getting on boats coming over here to America. I need you to show them to me because y'all say the slave trade was still going on even though they stopped it. I need you to show me black folks getting on boats, brother. Black folks on boats. I don't need no still picture or no drawings. I need you to show me actual pictures because they had pictures back then. I need you to show me the pictures. Pull them up. I'll sit there and wait for a second. And all you got to do is send it to me, and I'll share it to you. I'll share it with you. I need you to show me the boats of the black folks getting on the boats. Because I can show you black folks getting on the boats to go to Liberia. I can show you those pictures because those are actual pictures of so-called Negroes, so-called black folks and so-called Negroes getting on boats to go to Liberia. I can show you those pictures because those are actual pictures. Now I need you to show me the pictures of Negroes getting on boats in Africa coming to the Americas on Atlantic slave trade. Not pictures, not no still drawing pictures. I need you to show me pictures of people of so-called black folks coming to America in the 1800s. I need you to show it to me. That's why they had the Statue of Liberty. Because he say, I can only find illustrations. Of course, Because illustrations is just like you drawing a cartoon in a newspaper. They're giving you an image that they want to put and perpetuate in your thoughts. That the so-called Negro is supposed to come from someplace else. See, we cannot be the Indians of America. We can't be the Israelites of the Bible, and we can't be indigenous. We got to be everything else under somebody else's boot, instead of being who we supposed to be as a people. And that's why they give you these people in front of you to perpetuate these lies and make you believe in these lies. That's what these groups are there for. These groups are here to house you with a lie. Listen to this. If the pilgrims came in and they never had a harvest when they got here, the so-called aboriginals had to share food with them. This is the story. They had to share food with them because these folks didn't know how to eat off this land. They was digging up dead bodies, eating the dead bodies. They didn't know how to wash. They knew how to do none of that. And the so-called aboriginals supposedly had shared the food with them during a harvest time. Harvest time, what was harvest? That was Pentecost. According to the scriptures, that was Pentecost. And they shared some of their food with them. So if the pilgrims had to wait to get food from the indigenous people, how was the so-called pilgrims going to Africa, bringing them here when the pilgrims didn't even know how to eat off the land yet? How? That's a goofy story, brother. That's a goofy story. They didn't know how to live off the land, but they were still bringing slaves here. They were still eating the dead. They were digging up the indigenous people dead and eating them, but they were still bringing slaves. It's a goofy story. See, we got to pay attention to the common sense that they don't think we have. See, when you go home and you allow home to teach you, to show you, like Deuteronomy 32:7 says. Says, read Deuteronomy 32:7 for me, please. Pull that, get that and pull that up. We got to do what Deuteronomy 32:7 says. Deuteronomy 32:7 and 8. We have to do what that says. Otherwise, anybody can come and just bamboozle you, tell you anything. And they don't even have to be your family. They're going to just come and be so conniving, and you're going to sit right there and run with it. What you got?
It says, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Now, if the Bible telling you to go home and ask your father and mother, and your father and mother never told you that they came on slave ships nor their lineage, how is I'm calling the father or the creator a liar? Is it that you are taking the scriptures out of context? I'm going to show you that you're taking the scriptures out of context, because the Bible never told us that we're going to be in a far country and then get picked up as slaves. You can't never show me a scripture that says that. Every time Israel went into captivity, Israel was home. They was on their own land, or they was already in captivity and another nation came and captured and destroyed that nation that Israel was in captivity under. But Israel never fled into another country or another place and then eventually got picked up and came as slaves. There's no story in the Bible that teaches you that. There's no story in the Bible that teaches you that. You can't even find the 70 AD story in the New Testament. And I don't even believe what I don't even get in the New Testament like that. And you can never find the New Testament, 70 AD story in the New Testament. You have to make it up. You have to make it up. You have to sit there and pull strings from out of nowhere to be able to get your 70 AD story in the New Testament. No prophet in Torah teaches you that Israel going to flee from their homeland and go someplace else, live for 1,500 years, and then get picked up by slaves. To be picked up by other nations and become slaves. You ain't never saw a prophet teach that. But these One West camps teaches you this, that Israel fled from their land, went into Africa. But it's funny. It's funny because the one that crashed Jerusalem was Titus. And if you knew the story of Titus, his father Vespasian went to Egypt and set up a camp. So how did Israel pass by Vespasian in Egypt to be able to get to the west coast of Africa? How did they do it? Because Egypt was under Rome at that time. So how did the Israelites pass through Egypt, which is, if you go by that map over there, they had to pass through Egypt to be able to get to the west part of Africa. How did they get around Vespasian in the Egyptian army? How did they do it? And the Roman army that was also set up in Egypt too. How did they get past them? The same way that lie when they said that after the 10 tribes came from out of Israel, they got on the boats and came over here to America. That is another lie. That story don't even teach that. And they tell you Ashereth is America. That is another lie that these camps teach. The Bible tells you to go home and ask your mother, go home and ask your fathers and your elders. They will show you and they will teach you. It didn't tell you to listen to foreigners that's outside of your bloodline. It's telling you to listen to your bloodline. That's who's going to tell you where you come from. That's going to tell you how you got here. But we don't do that. We listen to people outside of our bloodline, as if they have the very essence of you. So that is a law for you to go to your fathers and your elders to talk to them about you. And for them to tell you about them, because you is a part of them. You are them. It didn't tell you to go outside of your bloodline. But we go outside of our bloodline because we trying to figure out things and think we have a hand on things greater than our parents and our elders. And that's why the nation is all messed up now today. Because we don't like leadership. We don't like leadership. We like that song, Patti LaBelle, and what the other brother name is that song with Patti LaBelle? On my own. Why did it have to be this way? That's what you like. You like to be on your own. Or you're going, listen to these foolish camps that ain't building nothing. That's what you listen to. That's what you follow. It says, give me Deuteronomy 21 and 23. This is what the problem is. We listen to outsiders. We listen to those that have nothing to do with us. And then they don't really give us a bad name. They just give themselves a bad name. Because a real Israelite that knows the bloodline of himself is going to separate from that foolishness. That's what a real Israelite going to do. A real Israelite is not going to tie himself in to something that's trying to tell him he come from someplace else if it did not come from who? Home. What you got?
It says, you said Deuteronomy, right?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 21 and 23. Hold on. The New Testament is not our book. But you know what the New Testament did? They took some things from Torah and wrote it in. So guess what? All for Yah. If the New Testament took certain things from Torah and it's in the New Testament, I'm gonna quote it. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. It says, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accused of the Creator. And thou land be not defiled, which the Creator thy power giveth thee for an inheritance.
So in other words, you don't supposed to hang people on your land and leave them out there all night, because that's not your practice. It's not your practice. You don't supposed to defile your land by following other people's practice. Now, I'm gonna bring that into today's term. We follow other people's practice by simply assimilate with them. Let me give you one point. Let me give you a couple of points that we follow. We let something hang on a tree, which curses the land. Now, watch this. The land is us, and us is the land. We come from the land, which makes us the land, and the land made us. Because the Bible says we were taken from soil, therefore, when we die, we return back to the soil. So I am the land, and the land is me. So now, when I follow the practices of the other nations, it curses the land. Now, some people say, well, you're not in the land. No, you are the land. See, we don't look at us being the land. We look at the land where tomatoes grow, where onions grow, where pickles grow and all. That's what we look at. And that is the land. That's growing the tomatoes, that's growing the lettuce, that's growing the greens, and that's growing the squash. That is the land. But tell me, what do you grow? You're supposed to produce the fruits of the Creator. So now, you're supposed to be the priest of the Creator, for the Creator. Therefore, you're supposed to be producing righteousness from you. So I am the land, and the land is me. So when I use and begin to follow practices of the other nations, then it begins to curse the land, which brings a curse upon me, because I am the land, and the land is me. That's why the Creator told Joshua, wherever you tread your foot, I'm going to give it to you. That's the reason why, even in captivity, Meshach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel, what happened to the three Hebrew brothers when they did not even bow to the to that creator of I think that was Babylon? Threw them in the fiery furnace, and what happened? Did they get burned up? No. Because they realized they are the land. And the land became them. We have to know who we are. When we follow the practices of the other nations, we become a curse to the Creator. And that's why the physical land that grows the actual crops put you out. But see, we don't follow those practices of righteousness. And that's why when you put something on the cross, you don't supposed to let it stay out there all night. It defiles your land. How many of us actually repent when we realize that we were wrong? How many of us do that? How many of us do that? How many of us actually get on our knees and repent when we realize we were wrong? Or we just continue to keep going? We assimilate with abortion. A lot of our sisters is back in abortion. The Bible tells you thou shalt not kill. But they're killing their babies is because a lot of them are 304s. A lot of our sisters became 304s. They'd rather be in a hot girl summer than to actually be a wife. A lot of our men became thugs, drug dealers, gangbangers. That's what we became. And we'd rather go knock up every girl that we can get instead of being that man that's supposed to be the protector over a family so that that female can raise your legacy correctly. I've noticed another thing too. A lot of us, we allowing to hang on the cross is tattoos all over our bodies. I've noticed that. Earring piercing all over our bodies in places that should not even, that piercing shouldn't be. Tattoos drawn all over you. You when the Bible tells you don't mock up your body. That's what we do. We allow it to hang. And we wonder why we are cursed. This is the problem. So now, when we follow these people, we become a curse. We curse ourselves. And it don't make a difference if you're in captivity. It doesn't matter that you're in captivity. Because the 3 Hebrew boys was in captivity along with Daniel. Daniel refused to even eat the meat in that captivity. The 3 Hebrew boys refused to bow when they heard the horn sound. They stood for righteousness. So we begin to now pull ourselves and assimilate ourselves with our enemies. And now our enemies, not knowing that your enemy look just like you. Your enemy look just like you. The one that conquered you looked just like you. But you say, no, it's the so-called Caucasian. No, family, it was the so-called Swathi. It was the Swathi man, the man that has the same skin tone, skin complexion like you. He looked just like you. Says, pull up Deuteronomy 29:1. swarthy complexion, just like you. I'm gonna answer your question in a minute, Mr. Bean. I'm gonna get there, but I'm not gonna rush. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there, brother, and I'm gonna show you about America.
Okay, you said 29 and 1.
29 and 1.
These are the words of the covenant, which is in the Creator, which the Creator commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab.
Moab,
excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb.
Horeb. Mm-hmm. Go to verse 2.
Okay. And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, ye have seen all that the Creator did before your eyes in the land of Egypt unto Pharaoh and unto all his servants and unto all his land.
Go ahead. Verse 3.
The great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the Creator hath not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day.
Go ahead.
And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxen old upon thy foot.
Go ahead.
Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Creator, thy power.
So in other words, he said he didn't give them eyes to hear, the eyes to see and ears to hear, because Israel was a stiff-necked people. They were a stiff-necked people. There were certain things that the Creator kept from Israel, because he already knew that if he showed it to them, they will run over it. They'll discard it. They'll throw it away. They'll defecate on it, because that's how wicked Israel were. But even throughout all that, he kept Israel. Whereas that nothing was banned by defiled away from Israel, not even their clothes. Not even their clothes. Sis, go ahead and pull Jeremiah 23 and 12. But he said he's taking you to the land of Moab. He's going to make a covenant with you there. So you got to remember the power that you saw when you were in Egypt. He's going to show you that same power. So when you get there, he's going to show you his power. Therefore, you need to have faith, because you saw the actual power in progress in Egypt. You saw the power when you were walking in the wilderness and your shoes did not get wear out. Your clothes did not get wore out. You saw the power. You were fed with manna, water from a rock. You saw the power. Go ahead.
Wherefore their way shall be unto them as slippery ways. In the darkness they shall be driven on and fall therein. For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, saith the Creator.
So darkness is coming upon and everything is going to fall down. Now, I want you to back up and read verse 11, 10, 11, and then come down to 12.
For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing the land mourneth. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, saith the Creator. Wherefore their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein. For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, saith the Creator.
So when you think you're getting away with something, you're really not. When you think that somebody don't see you, someone really does. He told Israel, your priests and prophets is no good. They ain't no good. They on a slippery slope because they thinking because they are the Levites or whoever that they literally have a past to be able to do wrong and then come back and do right. It don't work like that, family. That don't work like that. And when the Creator visits you, the day of your visitation, it's going to be dark. Meaning you're going to have to pay for your transgressions. There's no man that going to come on the cross and die for you. You're going to pay for that faith. You're going to pay for it. Go to Deuteronomy 23:3. Because you assimilate your enemy in your circle. Instead of you acknowledging your enemy, you assimilate your enemy in your land. What I mean by land means the actual place, and land means your company in the presence of you. We bring them into our fold. And that's why I say today, many of you don't even know who your enemies are. We're not even trying to figure them out because we listened to a narrative that you came from Africa. Go ahead.
23:6.
23:3.
And 3, okay. An Amorite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Creator. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Creator forever.
So we bring these people into our congregation. And the first thing we say is, oh, well, the Moabites are the Chinese. Really? Yeah, see, they got the little slanted eyes, slanted eyes because they got Down syndrome. That's that one West myth. Because I can show you an actual Asian that came off the Trans-Pacific slave trade and they don't have no slanted eyes. I can show you a real black Chinese, a real melanated Chinese that they hiding over there in China. They don't have no little, they don't have no slanted eyes. And some of them came off the Trans-Pacific slave trade. But nobody talks about that. They got you believing in the pale guy who got slanted eyes. That's Moab. That is not Moab. That is not Moab. If Lot was Abraham's nephew and Abraham was a so-called Negro, Lot became a pale Asian. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen to that one. I'm going to listen to that one. I'm going to wait on the answer. If Lot was Abraham's nephew, how did Lot become an Asian pale man? And now his children is the pale people in Asia, China, Japanese, Vietnamese. That's Lot's children, according to One West. That's Lot's people. According to One West, that's Lot's people, the pale Asians. But Abraham was a so-called Negro. Common sense, common sense, common sense. These people don't supposed to ever be in your congregation. But today you don't even know who they are. You know why? Because we done assimilated them into our land. The land is me and I. I am the land and the land is me. People just having babies now and don't even know who the background, who they having babies from. When the Bible specifically tell you not to mix your seed, you don't care. You just fall in love and just go have a baby. We don't even care about who, sisters, you don't care about who you open your legs up to. You just allow a man to go in and drop seed and you produce his legacy when he probably don't even deserve his legacy to live. So you allow righteousness on the earth. And some of these people who you allow to mate with you don't even respect your own house. But you allow them to mate with you. And you don't even check their background to see if this is your people. Show me how we created the pale people and the white people. How do we do it? How do we create the pale people and the white people? Because paleness is a curse, according to the scriptures. Because the first pale guy that was in the Bible was Elijah's servant. I'm tongue-tied. It was Elijah's servant, Gehaziel. That was the first pale man in the Bible that the Bible says he became white as snow, pale. Then you had leprosy. Leprosy was little spots on your skin. Show me how we created it. How did we create pale and white people? Brother Beam, how did we do it? But this is what happens. We allow people into our circle. It says, get Nehemiah, the 13th chapter, verse 1 through 3. Because there was a law that the Creator told Moses, tell the Israelites, do not allow none of these people in. None of these people. Watch this. In fact, before you get that, sis, go back to Deuteronomy 23, start at verse 1.
He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy. So let me start over. He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Creator.
Now stop right there. If you wound your stones, what it means to wound your stones? Wound. Your stones are your scrotum. What that sound like? When you wound them. When you wound your scrotum. Huh? Yeah, vasectomy. What you say, sis?
When a man has a vasectomy?
A vasectomy. You got a lot of men out here getting vasectomies. When the Bible tells you to be fruitful and multiply, he told you to have so many babies and then have a vasectomy. So when you get a vasectomy, you're not supposed to enter inside of the congregation. Nor when you get your privy cut off. Transgenders. That's an abomination to the Creator. You're not supposed to even allow them in your congregation. What verse 2 says, sis?
A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Creator. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Creator.
A bastard is a mamzar. Mamzar is someone come from incest, a fatherless child, or a mixed child, like a Hebrew and a heathen. That is a mamzar. Those are three types of mamzars. They do not supposed to be inside of your congregation. Well, Brother Bean, you have to show me that the plague of the mark of Cain was leprosy. You have to show me that one, because I kind of went over that in the war between male and female, and I didn't get a pale skin mark on that. I did not. So you would have to show me that whenever you get a chance. You don't supposed to allow these people in your congregation. But no, you know what though? Long as they say my father's a Negro. Oh yeah. You an Israelite. That's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah. He's an Israelite. He's an Israelite. Long as his father's a Negro, that's all that matters. When the Bible tells you not to do that, it says not go to Nehemiah 13, verse 1 through 3. The Bible tells you if your stones are wound, you cut off your privy, and you are a mamzar, you cannot come in. Even if you are an Amorite or a Moabite, you cannot come in. That means the leadership's supposed to be intact watching. Go ahead.
On that day, they read in the book of Moses in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Amorite and the Moabite should not come into the congregation of the Creator forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our Creator turned the curse into a blessing. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
So when the law is being read, you don't supposed to allow the mixed multitude to be up around you. You're supposed to separate from them. It's telling you straight up, they was reading the book of the law and they read Deuteronomy 23 and 3. And they read why the Creator do not want them in the midst of you. That means the Creator did not forgive them. So why are you forgiving them? That means their faith is sealed. Why, according to you, their faith ain't sealed? Why? I wonder why. Says go to the book of Jubilees. Pull up Jubilees and go to the 8th chapter. And let's get into the where do Japheth people belong at, and where do Ham's people belong at, and where do Shem's people belong at. Let's get into that. Because we got what is called sedition going on. Sedition. But some of us don't care. We don't care about, no, just let them come over because they deserve to work too. They deserve to have a good life too. This is what you say. Nah, that's the 10 tribes right there coming across the board. They coming home because Judah here. Judah. That's what you believe. That's what y'all believe. You got it? Jubilees, the 8th chapter, verse 29 and verse 30. Y'all say those the 10 tribes. Oh, they went through hardship just like the so-called melanated Negro. See, the Native Americans and the Hispanics and the Mexicans and Latinos, see, they went through hardship too. What hardship did they go through? Because the Native Americans are the Know Nothing Party. What hardship they went through? What? Explain it to me. How they got land and you don't? How they became the Cherokee, but they don't, if they the real Cherokees, why they don't take why your family who are Cherokees don't know them people? Why? How did they become the Aboriginals? Pale skin is not aboriginal to the earth. Pale skin is not aboriginal to the earth. Pale skin, in fact, is a curse. It's a curse. You got it, sis?
Jubilees 8, starting at 19.
Start at verse 29. 29 and 30. But they telling you they're indigenous. They telling you that they're the people of God. Go ahead and read when you get it. They telling you that you were cursed. Your skin tone is a curse. You were a slave.
Okay. I got it.
Go ahead.
This is the land which came forth for Japhet and his sons as the portion of his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his sons, for their generations forever, 5 great islands and a great land in the north.
So now, if you go to Genesis, the 10th chapter, verse 5, you will see it say the same thing. Japheth got 5 great islands in the north. But you ain't one West tell you that the land we are in the land of the north. Japheth's people are in the land of the north. Go ahead, keep reading, sis. Go ahead. What you got?
But it is cold, and the land of Ham is hot, and the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but it is of a blended cold and heat.
So Shem's land is cold. Not Shem, excuse me. Japheth's land is cold. Ham's land is hot. Where's the heat at? Where's the hot at? Down by the equator. That's South America, Africa. It's hot. But Shem's land is climate control. Climate control, family. So that's one aspect of where you know Shem's land. It's climate control. Shem's land is climate control. That's why his land has the best food on it, the best trees. That's why his land has the vegetation that grows wild because of the climate. And everybody's trying to come to Shem's land. Show me everybody trying to go to Africa. Who? Tell me who. Probably some of you crazy Negroes. Because the Africans, I don't care if they're Nigerians or Congolese or whatever you want to call them, they trying to get out to come over here to you. And they trying to get over into Europe. Everybody trying to get over there. Everybody trying to come over here. They say this is the land that feeds the world. That's why they're not trying to get their foot off your neck. They're not. brother, I have, listen, brother Bean. I have a brother that's light skin, lighter than me. Okay. We have the same father and mother. Okay. I have my other brother is a little darker than me. That has nothing to do with being pale. That's not even in comparison to being pale. Pale is another whole DNA. Okay? That's another whole DNA. Y'all think that another whole DNA come from you. That's why it behooves me when I hear people talking about the so-called white man come from you. The white man don't come from you. That's another whole DNA by itself. And you don't believe me? Go ask a doctor. Go ask a doctor or go ask people who take blood. I guarantee you they'll tell you the DNA is different. The only time when you'll see a pale man DNA is almost like yours is when admixture is in it, is involved. That's it. But if you get 100% pure pale man, his DNA is no way near yours. It's different. See, y'all don't believe that there's different types of people on this earth. Y'all believe that all people that's on this earth is the same people. No, it's not. It's different people. Says go ahead and get Leviticus 26, verse 31 and 32. They're different. These people are different. There's a different whole species on this earth. Tell me where did the giants come from? What DNA did the giants come from? Whoa. Show me the giants' DNA. You got people in your lineage that's 8 to 9 feet tall. That's a whole separate DNA by itself. And I know we produce different shades, brother. I mean, I'm not ignorant to that, but we don't produce pale skin, brother. We don't produce pale skin. Leviticus 26, 31 and 32.
And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation, and I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it.
That means the enemies that you did not kill, they're gonna be astonished. In other words, they come to the pickings. They can pick you off now because they realize that you are the land and the land is you. But they see that now you're cursed because the land is not producing what you think the land should have been producing. You're cursed now. They see your power just curse you. So now they could come in and now take you over. It was just a waiting game because they already knew how ambitious Israelites are, how stubborn and how stiff-necked the Israelites are. They already knew that, but it was just a matter of time. They knew that it was just a matter of time. It says Deuteronomy 8 and 7. It was just a matter of time. They knew this. And that's the same thing with your enemy that sits among you today. It's just a matter of time. They can put abortion clinics in your neighborhood. Some of you sisters, you'll go straight there and get an abortion. Go ahead.
For the Creator thy power bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of the valleys and hills.
So the Creator bringing us in land that springs out of valleys and hills. What is that? A geyser. That's a geyser. Can you show me a geyser in Africa or the Middle East? Because we got plenty of them in Utah. Show me a geyser in Africa and the Middle East, because that's the land he's bringing us to. He's bringing us with, he's bringing us in a land of geysers, where water just shoot up from the rock. Like what that park is, Yellowstone Park. Plenty of geysers there. Show me geysers in Africa, in the Middle East, that just spring up from the rock. Water just spring up from the rock. Show it to me. See? Plenty of them in America. Plenty of geysers in America. Plenty of geysers in America. Do me a favor, sis. Pull up Genesis 3 and 20. This brother pull up. He threw this verse up there, and then we're going to move forward. This is what happens when you assimilate yourself. And I'm gonna tee up the video while you do that, sis.
And Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living.
Okay. So you pull that and say she was the mother of all living. Now, watch this, brother. If Eve was the mother of all living, and now here it is, she just sinned. She was the mother of all living. Was. What living did she bring forth? You think that she brought forth the white man? The pale man? That ain't what that's saying. That's not saying she brought forth the white man or the pale man. That's not what that's saying, brother. She was the mother of all living. No, that's not what that's saying, brother. That's a curse. That's a curse. That's not a blessing. That's a curse. That's why I say you show you understand what you show you understand what that means. Let me pull this up. This is what happens when you assimilate yourself and you don't follow scripture. This is what happens, and I'm gonna show you this. This is in Chicago. Let me get the video up real quick. Hold on. Yeah. All right. 1 second. I'm just pulling it up. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is Chicago. They say they are under attack by the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party resources from them. So let's look. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Fair use. Fair use. Let me get it. Let me get back over here. It's fair use. Fair use. Democrat Party. They say that we are under attack by the Democrat Party because they're taking resources from us. But let's listen to what they say. Let's listen to what they say. Fair use. Fair use. Okay. Let me wait till it get in. We about done. Okay, here we go. I don't know, this thing acting slow.
the first day that we signed up for
No, I don't want
Monday.com.
that. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's a commercial. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Fair use under the 1976 Act.
Now,
Let's go.
I was going to talk about Sheila Jackson Lee, but I had to put that on pause because of some videos that came out of Chicago. Now, you know, we have been talking about the migrant crisis in Chicago, how Brandon Johnson and the Democrats have been choosing to handle this at the expense of Black Americans. Black Americans have been standing up and been saying, no, this is not about to be business as usual. You're not about to take resources from us and give it to people who aren't voting, who aren't citizens, who don't pay taxes, who don't do nothing in this city. I want you to hear in this video, and I'm so proud and so happy with these three videos I want you to hear. There are three different people. One sister, Kata Trust, the one you've been seeing, have been coming out a lot lately. Listen to what she has to say. There's another sister behind her and a third one. And after you listen to, you know, those videos, we're going to come behind and just, you know, pull out some of the points that they're making. So let's go ahead and roll that.
Now, I want you to, before I get into that, I want you to pay attention to listen to what they're saying. Now, these people voted for the Democrat Party. They voted for the lesser of the two evils. They assimilated themselves with this system, thinking that if they could vote somebody in from the community that looked like them, that grew up with them, he got their back. But now he's seeing that, they're seeing that, oh, the so-called illegals that's coming across the border, they got more opportunity and even more of a position politically than they do who grew up from the soil. So let's get into it. I want to kind of pick it up. Let's get into it and let's listen to their plight of assimilating the enemy in your house. Let's go.
Let's talk about the money that is being spent. I think that there needs to be a federal audit against the company that we have contracted out to take care of the migrants. We have nurses that are being paid $64,000 a month. We have security officers that are being paid as much as $24,000 a month. We have home health care workers that are being paid up to $17,000 a month. You don't think that Chicagoans could have benefited from that? We have citizens in this city.
Did y'all? Oh, it's too loud. Did y'all hear how much money they were paying these illegals? I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to really think about what they are paying these people. Let's go. Let's hear it again. Listen to the money. Listen to how they rolling the money out for the illegals, but not for you. Let's go.
Money that is being spent. I think that there needs to be a federal audit against the company that we have contracted out to take care of the migrants. We have nurses that are being paid $64,000 a month. We have security officers that are being paid as much as $24,000 a month. We have home health care workers that are being paid up to $17,000 a month. You don't think that Chicagoans could have benefited from that? We have citizens in this city that have been on the waiting list for affordable housing for years, and migrants have been bumped in front of them. We have people who have been given up to $9,000 a month for housing assistance. That amount of money can be life-changing for some families here in the city of Chicago. We are not anti-migrant. We do sympathize with them. But what I am is I am pro-Black. I am for my people who have been mistreated, who have been marginalized, who have been disrespected. And it is disrespectful for people to expect us to give up our parks, and our schools and places in our community for others.
Now, hold on. Now, hold on. Oh, this thing too loud. Now, hold on. She just sat there and said she's not anti-migrant. But you expect us to give up our stuff for other people? Now, listen, that's speaking with a forked tongue. If you're not anti-migrant and the migrants say, hey, we need a place to stay, and they say, we're going to give them some of y'all stuff, and now you complaining, that means you're anti. That means you're anti. You see that? They scared to say, I don't want these people in my community. I'm anti. I don't want them, because if you go to their community, they're going to tell you, they're going to come out and say, I'm anti. I'm anti. Let's go.
We're not saying that there's not room here, but what we are saying.
See what she said? We're not saying that there's not no room here. No, there's no room here. See, listen to what they saying. When the Creator said to kill the Canaanites, see, the Israelites couldn't do it because there's room here. I'm not anti-Canaanite. I'm not anti-Jebusite. I'm not anti-Perezite. We're going to give them an opportunity. So now all of a sudden, you ain't anti. You're not anti. But you don't want. But you say there's room here, but you don't want them there. See, you're speaking with a forked tongue. Let's go.
Is that we're not going to step aside for you to accommodate them when you have continued to leave us out of the equation.
Now, if you're being left out of the equation and you see that they don't care nothing about you, why are you complaining instead of just getting up and formulating things for yourself as a community? The tax money that they're spending for these people coming from you. So why you're not doing anything to stop your tax money from being used for these people? Because you don't know the law. Let's go. But you're assimilating into a law that you don't know nothing about. Let's go.
So I'm not just talking to Brandon Johnson right now. I'm talking to Governor Pritzker, and I'm talking to President Biden. And I want you to understand that as we run into this upcoming political year, where the Democratic Party is on the menu, hear me, people of Chicago, of Illinois, and of the United States. It is time for us as Black people to stop voting party. Come on.
See, now you don't want to vote party no more. See, your slavery, your captivity is not going to end until you learn to cry. They've been sitting there voting Democrat. Now you say, oh, we're not going to vote party no more. So now what you going to do, run over to the Republicans? They're not going to give you anything either. Because the Bible says Israel will have to pay for its sins. You're going to have to suffer. So now what do? Democrats ain't going to give you nothing. Republicans darn sure ain't going to give you nothing. So now tell me, family, what do you do? Let's go.
It is time for us to stop voting color. It is time for us.
So now they don't want to vote color. So now you're going to vote for somebody other than you. The people that you vote for, you're supposed to know them. They're supposed to be of you. Is your mayor because he's the same color as you? Is that you? Or does he just have the last name Johnson as opposing you? And you didn't do your background. You just allow the enemy in because he has the same skin tone as you to rule you. See, when the Bible tells you don't allow the Moabites and the Ammonites to come into your congregation, the Creator meant that. Y'all don't even know if this mayor is an Ammonite or a Moabite or a Canaanite. Y'all don't know. Y'all just look at skin tone. Let's go.
Us to start voting our self-interest. Yes. Yes. And if the Democrats in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, and the country of USA refuse to listen to us, then it is time for us to start looking at other alternatives.
So now they're going to look at other alternatives instead of the law. When instead of the Bible telling you not to vote for people that is not of your brother. So why are we participating if that's not your brother? If you didn't groom these people, you don't know where these people coming from or come from. Why are you voting for them? Why are you voting for them? But let's keep going.
People, we are looking at other alternatives. We will not step aside and continue to be mistreated. We will not continue to be disrespected.
Before course here.
I don't want to hear the commercials. Going out of the way. Let's go.
I'm looking at people who are coming here from another country, giving work visas, giving social security cards. Nobody is asking them what walk of life that they come from. You don't think that our brothers who have been in prison, who have come out and who have changed their lives will benefit from the same opportunities that we're giving these migrants?
No, they won't benefit from them. Because y'all keep voting for the same people that put your brother in there. You keep voting for the same man that put your people in there that destroyed your community. That's asinine. But you expect these people to listen to you, but you keep giving them power over you? Let's go.
And I'm not saying that they don't deserve those opportunities.
See, there she go again. I'm not saying that they don't deserve the opportunities, but they giving them the opportunities. But now you say they don't get it before me. Well, which one is it? Let's go.
But what I am saying is we deserve them first.
See, we deserve them first. But all this time, excuse me, you've been voting for people, you've been voting for a party that didn't care nothing about you, never care nothing about you, and now you want them to hear your plight because you say, "Oh, I'm not saying they don't deserve to work or have this better life. I'm just saying we deserve it first." You see? You can't have it both ways. Let's go.
What I am saying is you can't continue to put us on the back burner and think that we're going to continue to be okay with it.
But they've been doing that for years. And you've been okay with it. So they put it now in your face. They've been bringing people here, jumping over you. You wonder how these foreigners get the hotels, the gas stations, how they end up getting the movie theaters? Because the government be giving it to them. And they surround you with these foreigners who got these businesses, and all they doing is just pulling the money out of your community because you got to go to them. Unless you're going to drive way across town just to be able to go get what you want that has that same product sitting right there in your face. Either way, cross town or right there in town, you're gonna end up buying from a foreigner. Let's go.
We've done that for long enough. Yeah. And what we're saying here today is that it's no longer acceptable. Good. We're saying to our city, we're saying to our governor that you're not going to continue to set monies aside for people who don't live here and disrespect, mistreat, and forget about us. You've forgotten about us. Yep. You have treated us as if we don't matter. And
No, you treated yourself like that. As if you didn't matter because you was the one that was voting for the lesser of the two evils. You was the one that was sitting here putting these people on a pedestal because they told you don't vote Republicans because Republicans hate you. So come vote Democrat. And when you vote Democrat, you never got anything. You still ain't gonna get nothing. Now they put it in your face that they ain't gonna give you nothing. They're gonna give it to everybody else. And now you complaining. Let's go.
We're saying to you, you're not going to continue to do this. We're saying to you to see us. You're dumping people into our communities who are going to at some point move us out of the way.
See, it's all about positioning. It's all about positioning. These people coming in, they bringing these people in to position you out of the way. They don't need you no more. And you haven't even yet caught on to the game yet. Because the same way Deuteronomy 32:7 say, go home and ask your father and your elders. They will tell you and show thee. But you instead go and ask foreigners. Like what they're doing now. They're complaining to foreigners. When they should band together and begin to pool their money together and begin to move all them people out of the way. They ain't gonna do that though. Because we refuse to work with one another. Let's go.
Yeah. And what I say to you, if you want a glimpse into what's going to happen, look at how people of color are being treated in Venezuela right now. We seem to forget that Venezuela was one of the first places that had African slaves. That they were.
See, you got to always bring up the slave. What do Venezuela's slave trade have to do with you in Chicago? She's tying that in, saying that you come from Africa. I keep telling y'all, this is what these people do. This is what these people do. Let's go.
Taken to. Yeah. We're forgetting about that. Yeah. And so we're forgetting that there are blacks in Venezuela who are being treated the same way we are. And so for us to expect that they're going to come here and be put into our society and treat us differently is a pipe dream.
Jessica Jackson, and I'm a member of the community over here on the south side. I want to say that this problem is bigger than any alderman that's sitting in city council. This is an attack on the black community by the Democratic Party, and this is an attack on the citizens of this city.
Yeah.
Our rights are being violated. Our civil rights are being violated.
Civil motus means you're dead. That's what civil rights means. Civil motus, you're dead. So they don't care nothing about that. So yeah, you're right. It is being violated because you don't have any. Let's go. Because your civil rights is talking about Indian Bills of Rights. If you put the Indian Bills of Rights in front of them, they don't have no choice but to look at you with an all sign on your face. But you keep going to the black civil rights, what Al Sharpton is telling you about when the bill is called the Indian Bills of Rights of 1964. Let's go.
There's no law that allows for non-citizens to come into our communities, force themselves into our communities, force themselves into public accommodations, force themselves into schools that could have been open for our children. Right. The constant discrimination against black people has to stop.
But it's a law. It is a law. And it's the law is you vote me in to power. So now I can do what I believe I can do because you don't know any better at what I'm doing. You know I'm doing wrong, but you just don't know what I'm doing wrong. Let's go.
I'm at the city council meetings all the time. I have yet to see any black official, any Hispanic official, any white official stand up and say that this is a violation against the civil rights of our citizens in this city. Or
they ain't gonna do that because you paying for it. You paying for it. Why would they stop you from paying for an agenda that they got on the table? Why would they stop that? Why? Let's go.
The citizens in Chicago, in the United States of America. We had an incident day before yesterday with a young man named Michael Young Bay.
Let me stop that real quick. Put that on pause. Mute that. Let's go. Let's get this commercial up out of here. All right, one. Let's go.
Who was doing what many of you are doing right now? Filming in a public building in City Hall, filming a public official, Alderman Greg Mitchell, Greg Mitchell did not like being filmed, and he made an aggressive attack on Michael. Michael went to jail. He went to jail because he asked to file a report on Greg Mitchell. Now, we all witnessed a few days before then where the Brighton community had an attack against that alderman. No arrests were made. We all witnessed when the Palestinians were protesting in City Hall about the war between Palestine and Israel. We witnessed them jumping and fight the police. No arrests was made. It's all anchored in the fact that those people, they have a whole different political platform than Black people do. Those people have protections from their countries. They have embassies, they have consulates. The United States is in treaties with these people, all kinds of deals. So America handles them lightly. Black America only has the United States of America for our government, and our government is failing us. We fought for the civil rights laws in this country.
But the reason why you only have the United States government is because you're indigenous to this land. The reason why everybody else have embassies is because they're not. So you have to pay attention to what they be saying. They are very emotional, but do you hear the problem? You don't have an embassy because obviously this is your land that has been co-opted and that has been seized by foreigners. Let's go.
Yeah. We fought for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment.
See, they fought to make you a slave. They fought to be able to give you what is called a birth certificate. She's saying they fought for all that. Let's go.
We fought for the freedoms of this country, and yet we're the last ones that's reaping the benefits of it.
Because they say you can never be a real citizen in this land, and you still haven't yet got it. You're trying to make somebody love you who don't. You're trying to make somebody to make you do something. I mean, help you get something when they don't like you in the first place. Let's go.
Right. I was told by our alderman, Stephanie Coleman, that the money for the Southwest Side Invest, the $320 million that's supposed to be earmarked, which we later found out was $2.2 billion. She tells me that money is a hoax. Well, if it's a joke, you need to go find our real money, because there's no way in the world that the Black citizens of this city does not have real money in the pot of the city of Chicago. Where's our money? Why are we constantly being told that things have to be studied? Reparation has to be studied. Reparations was in order since 1865. How much studying must the Democratic Party do?
As long as you keep voting for them and giving them power, they're going to keep studying because they don't care nothing about you, because they got a policy called benign and neglect. Anybody know? Pull it up. Benign and neglect. Benign and neglect. That is their policy for you. Let's go.
Yeah. Where's our money? Where's the money for the economic development of our communities? Why is it that we're being put in a position for the immigrants to come into our community? They're going to get money, and they're going to get money to open small businesses. Yeah. And they're going to open those small businesses in these communities. And then our people are going to be forced to buy from them.
I just sat there and told y'all that. They got all these stores, hotels, businesses, gas stations, and etc. And they put them all around your community, and they're forcing you to pay to go to their stores to be able to get what you need. I just sat there and told y'all that. Let's go.
After they've invaded our country and invaded our neighborhoods, we say no to all of this. We say no to all of this, and we're asking that the governor stop demanding. Thank you for the correction. We're demanding that Governor Christopher, that he exercise his governor rights, like we see the Florida governor exercising his.
See, they want people to be like other people instead of them sitting there being Aboriginal and say, "Hey, I'm an Indian. We don't supposed to be taxed. Y'all supposed to be paying us retribution." Instead of they making themselves look like they're slaves. Let's go.
See, the Texas governor exercising his. But now when you get to Illinois, all of a sudden, our governor can't do anything except for acceptance. Is he a man or a mouse? We want what's entitled to us in this country. We're demanding that Governor Prisoner turn those buses around. We're demanding that Brandon Johnson stop allowing those Hispanic aldermen, the deputy mayor of immigration, migrants, and refugees, I believe her last name is De Leon, and that DeSantis, why are they not speaking about this? Because they too are monetarily benefited from it. People need to stop getting rich off the back of black people and give us our rights and give us our money.
Well, see, Black, she said stop getting rich off the backs of blacks. Well, you got to stop calling yourself black in the first place, because black means dead by law. So, but anyway, we make people rich because we don't even support one another. We don't. So that's what we have to pay attention to. We don't even support one another. So my point is this right here. This what happens when you assimilate yourself inside of someone else. This what happens. Shalom, brother. Shalom. This what happens when you assimilate yourself inside somebody else's system. They built this system around you in order for you to continue to stay as a consumer. So what do? Yes, our people are having an identity crisis, and we need to stop voting for right. We need to stop voting for this system. This what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And this is the problem. This is the problem. We keep going off track. I am the land, and the land is me. If I keep hanging something on the cross and I let it stay overnight, it causes your land to be a curse. We've been allowing the voting system to stay on that cross in front of us on our land. We keep long as I get that I voted sticker. That's your tangible. But at the same time, you're being cursed. So we have to pay attention to what's really taking place. Because if we don't pay attention to what's really taking place, then we are going to be the ones that is hurting. We're going to be the one that's hurting. Sis, you got anything you want to say? Okay. We're going to be the one that's hurting. And this is going to be the problem. So we thank the Creator. You say question. It just happened. Okay, here we go. If we repent and continue to go back the same sin, is it over with? Will y'all forgive? Will y'all never forgive me if I change one day? Well, the scripture says in Sirach, in the Apocrypha, a man that no less sins and keep the law. I mean, not less sin. Man who know less. A man who understand less laws and keep the law is greater than the one who know the law and transgress the law. So let's put it like this. If I go against the law deliberately, and I know I went against the law deliberately, then I'm going to get punished for that deliberate act. There's no way around that. Nobody can stop that. Every man must die for his own sins. So is wanking a sin? I have this bad habit. What is wanking, brother? You talking about jerking off? Beating your meat? That's what you talking about? Yeah, that's a sin, because when you doing that, brother, what you thinking in your mind? Because the Bible says he judges your mind, your thoughts, brother. He judges your thoughts. So as you doing that, then yeah, that's sin, because you're thinking of something that you're thinking of a desire. That desire is leading you to do that. Yeah, that's sin. Yeah, that's very much sin. So yeah, that's very much sin, brother. Yes. Yeah, that's sin. So I would do my best to turn with all my heart. All praises, brother. All praises. All praises. All praises. So we thank you for joining us tonight on this Shabbat. Normally we do it on every Saturday at 11 o'clock. But if you haven't yet, please press that like and subscribe button, brothers and sisters. Please press that like and subscribe button for the channel. All right. And we hope that you enjoyed what you have heard. We have to stop allowing these folks to assimilate with us. And we have to remember, I am the land and the land is me. So wherever I go, I am the land. And I have to be like the 3 Hebrew brothers. And like Daniel, I can't eat that meat. I can't bow. I have to be different. Righteousness have to be shown through me. Okay? Not if I'm just in some territory. I have to be, I am the land. Okay? And the land is me. So we thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. This is ITFTR Network. This is Moreh Yaakov. In another segment, this is part 6. All Israelites are not Israel. We're going to have part 7 coming up next week. So stay tuned. We thank you for joining us on this Shabbat lesson. Make sure you tell your friends and families about us, and even your enemies. You know, tell them, okay, we got a channel over there, brother Moreh Yaakov. So we thank you, and we thank the Creator for giving us the opportunity to come into your homes and your house as well as mine. So until then, we thank you, and happy Shabbat Shalom. May the Creator continue to allow your Shabbat to be peaceful, restful, and relaxful. And until the next week, in the Creator's will, Shalom.